Okay, it's kind of hard to stay in shot here because I'm in a really cramped space right now. I apologize for that. We have our preliminary design of our 50 amp switch done. Now, there are limitations on this switch because these diodes are getting kind of hot, but we'll deal with that in another way. I think I'll have to double them up in order to make this a real working switch. But the MOSFETs are working fantastically. And each one of these MOSFETs will need its own power supply because of the diode. So that's a consequence. Now, the switch will not work without the diodes, so you can forget about that. Yeah, you'll have to figure that out why. I'm not going to share everything I know. Anyway, this is really pretty cool. We have the 10-volt supply hooked up to this MOSFET, and then we have the 20-volt supply, which is underneath the power supply, hooked up to the middle MOSFET, and we've got 30-volt supply hooked up to that MOSFET, and then we've got two more for 35 and 40 volts. And we're going to turn on the 10-volt supply, 10 volts, 10-volt tap, 10-volt gate. There we go. We're drawing our gate drive current, which is almost entirely the current that's being dropped through the gate drive resistors. We've got 9.6 amps on the load at 1 ohm, and we've got 9.7 volts because it's 1 ohm. Okay, and now we're going to turn it off. Ta-da! Goes back to 0. And we've got all the taps hooked up right now. So we have isolation, we have throughput power, and we have control. Turn it back on. It's back on. Turn it off. It's off. Very cool. Now, 20 volts. Do we have 20 volt control? Turn on the 20 volt tap. 20 amps. 20 volts. Perfect. Switch is working. Okay, we'll turn off the 20 volts. And the 30 volts. Well, 30 volt I can't leave on too long because the diode gets really hot. There we are. 30 amps. 30 volts. You can hear it's buzzing. And that diode is about probably 80C. So the 30 amps is right at the practical limit for one diode. That diode will probably fail in regular service. So we'll have to think about options there. We'll have to do some torture testing, and this will be good enough for proof of concept, but the solid state relay this is more than capable of the switching. We just have some capability issues we need to sort out with the current flowing through the diodes. But and the diodes are going to heat because it's not passing AC, it's passing DC. So there's no relaxation period for them to recover, which is challenging. So we are not passing any current. The switch works. There's no voltage. So our switch is fully operational with some power limitations, of course, and we'll deal with that in the full design.